So we're just going to go and generate lighting, and you can't. And I know why. This looks like it was made under Eden. And it was. It's not using the template I made, but it was built under Eden, and slightly higher than the template I made. But that's cool. And this is a landing platform. If you're not sure what I mean by landing platform, don't look down. If you're not sure what I mean by landing platform, it is... That's a landing platform there, you see? And they're all throughout the Halo series. You see them in, especially in Reach. But that's where the... That's where the pelicans land. Now, there are some pelicans that fly around the level. I'm not sure if any of them fly at the same height as this platform here. Oh, there's some that do, but they don't intersect with this court. Okay, let's look at the tech side of this court. It looks like he's used one or two of the templates. It looks like he's used the containment and the external one, so that's good. Didn't use the launch one. That's okay too. So he's got built himself a drone. Oh, that's the speaker for the announcer. I get it. And oh, look, he's built all this structure to make it look like we're actually attached to that building. So that's cool. It's a nice touch. Okay, anyhow, technical side. I hope these don't work. I'm actually going to check the scripts on them to make sure the Wernicke wreckers don't actually function. No scripts on them. And I forget how you make it so they don't function, but they don't, so that's good. It's not going to fling us to our death every time we land on it. But, okay, so I'm assuming there's some kind of script going on up there. Well, we'll look at it in-game. How about that? Or we'll just wait till the review round is up, and they'll be looking at in-game. They'll be able to see all the cool things that happen. I'm sure that could probably part of an opening cinematic or something. Anyhow, technically, spawns look good. They appear to be the proper height off the floor, which means they look like they're floating, but they're not, so that's good. Ball's good. Ball pickup's good. Dimensions are good. Your walls are not. Okay, very, very close, but not quite. It looks like you've made your court just slightly larger than the template. And what I'm assuming is the bottom is correct, but the top isn't. And so it looks like you've measured for the bottom, but because it's on an angle, the tops are not where they're supposed to be. So you have two choices, and we'll give you a bit of a break here. I'm sure you won't mind this, because it looks like it would be easier to move the walls than it would be to change your whole blooming court up, right? I'm sure you probably don't want to have to move all these items here. So it's really, really simple. We're going to give you a bit of a break. We're going to... First I want to see which way these blocks move. I should have got in closer for that. Yep. So that's the top one there. Okay. This is what we're going to do for you. We're going to take that block, that block, that block, and we're going to do this. We're going to go here to our position, and we're going to create a wall hop. Did I... Oh, I see. Two of them are blocks and one of them's a wall. Yeah. Trick me. You know what? Let's just get rid of that wall. So you don't need a wall there anyhow, because you're spawning on the field. So let's just go out here. Whoa, I forgot. This map is kind of wonky when you're forging on it. You can just randomly die. There are volumes, but here we go. I'm just going to do it from the inside. I'm just going to swap that wall for a block, okay? And I don't know what I'm doing. Completely lost. There, I see how I'm trying to just find the magnets on the corners. There we go. Okay, there we go. So back to business here. Select 3 blocks, and we're going to just move them all exactly the same distance to create a wall hop ledge. So there we go. We just move the blocks to make your wall hop ledge, okay? Wall hop, no clamber. Oh, clamber. So sorry, I have to narrow it up a bit because that allows clamber. Oh, I see. You've got an invisible blocker in front. I wasn't accounting for that. So maybe you had a wall hop all along. I just didn't see it. Either way, same deal. Yeah, you might have had a... Let me go look at the other side. I didn't realize there was an invisible blocker because sometimes you can't see them in Forge mode. Okay, and there isn't one on this side. So that's good. That's good. So just match this on the other side. Just move these walls in until they're big enough for a wall hop ledge, but not big enough for a clamber ledge. So just like so. The outside walls, they could be part of a group, might not be, but select the inside one first, then the 2 on the outside, and group them. And we're just going to move them out until they match up with just like towards the outside of the piece that you're using there. And confirm that you can clamber on it. And you can't. Not a big deal. You just have to... We're going to fake it, okay? We're going to get rid of your clamber walls, or your extra walls here. We're going to just get rid of those. Okay, we're going to delete those. And you know what we're going to do? We see that wall there? We're going to duplicate it. Okay? We just duplicated the outside wall with the angled walls. And we're just going to do this. Really simple. We're going to... Let's give them the same position first so that they're exactly the same position. I'm just doing this quickly. You'll be much more accurate than I will. See, I just did that so that they're the same position. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is just get rid of my magnets. I'm going to put this wall here so it encases. You see, there's your wall hop ledge. There's my wall hop ledge. As I say, I'm just doing this really quickly. You'll be much more accurate at forging it than I am. But you want to turn off your magnets, and you want to make it so that the new wall hop ledge, see, it's further forward, and now it's above. So it completely seals in your wall, so there's no overlap. And now you'll get perfect clambering along the entire ledge of it. So once you get those placed, they should be fine. Just have to test at the joint to make sure that in the joint area, yeah, they should be fine. Typically, even when you overlap, oh, maybe not. Okay, so there is a dead zone here. Dead zones are easy to fix. You just ungroup it, and then you just move these walls out so that they're corner to corner. You see, all I did is I took this invisible blocker and I moved it out to the corner of that one there. And yeah, you see how they're overlapped? You don't want any of that overlap. You just want it to be like so. Okay? So it doesn't affect your map in any way. It just makes it so that you can clamber right at the joint of where the 2 invisible blockers are. So there you go. Yeah, just move the invisible blockers out to recreate your clamber ledge. Duplicate them. And oops, this one's got a... You see that sticking out there? That's a problem there. So we're going to You know what? In this case, sorry, you're going to have to actually take your piece. You're going to actually have to take your wall piece and move it. Oh, get rid of those. You're going to have to move it so that it is outside of the wall. So you are going to have to do a little bit of work to your piece here to make sure that it's, as I say, I'm just goofing around here. You're going to be doing all the accurate work. Make sure that your wall is outside of the invisible blocker, or you could bring the invisible blocker in even more to cover it. Whichever way you want to do it, so long as you can't see any of your wall through the invisible blocker, because that will create a dead zone, and that your invisible blockers are just touching the corners, and that should be fine. Same with this wall down here. I'm not going to fall for this again. I'm just going to grab the middle wall and move it out a little bit. Unfortunately, this has to move too, so that it's no longer a perch. So, oops, I had the 2 selected. So that will have to be outside the court boundary. So that will have to be moved a bit. So that's good there. Just make sure that's lines up with it, so that you have, and you know, you of course should do the same to this side. So that way you have a wall hop ledge here, but you cannot clamber on it. So I think that's all you need. So it's just a bit of a containment to make your walls more active and more standard. And so a little bit of adjustment on there. And as I say, it's just as easy to adjust the blockers as it is to adjust your pieces, or a bit of each, whichever's easiest for you. That's fine. If it makes the court slightly bigger, slightly smaller, that's not an issue as well. It's, you know, you're talking half the length of a player's step. You know, bring it from here to here is not a big deal. So as long as it looks good, right? You want to make sure that you maintain the nice consistent look of those. It's not a big deal, but you see how these pieces here and these pieces here are slightly different. I don't know if you can go through your list and see if you can find another piece that maybe suits it better, but maybe not. It doesn't really matter. You've got them all consistent color. Yeah, it's not a problem. Floor, I like this. There is a moire pattern. And we haven't covered this yet. We've covered it in walls, and that's directly in the player's sight line. So if you had a moire pattern around the outside, that would be a bit of a problem. It's not as bad on the floor, okay? You do kind of see it upfield a little bit. Now, well, the good thing is you put the long lines, the lengthways of the field. You see how there's like very little visual distraction going that way, but there is a little bit. There is a little bit looking cross field. That's not as bad. That's not, you know what I mean? You'll look cross field in defensive positions or looking to pass or something. That's not as bad. That's a little bit of a visual distraction, but it's kind of underneath the sight lines. It's going to be littered with bodies anyhow if it's a good game. I wouldn't worry about the visual distraction on that. As I say, if it were the fence, that would be a different story, but being the floor, you kind of expect it, because you are looking through at a great distance down. That's a really nice effect. Anyhow, that's good. I'm good with the floor, with the visual distraction being underfoot is fine. I'm fine with that. Yeah, that's it. That's it for this one. Let me know when you make your updates, and we'll make sure that we have move your map into the proper column for the contest, and move it on to the voting round once you're done. So let me know when you get this finished or repaired, and